Man. This is fancy. It is. It's a fancy fridge. I mean, we went from never having a indoor thing to having an indoor thing.
You mean like in the door, not like inside?
No. We ain't never been able to get no water inside now. I tell you what, this is fancy living. No, what I mean is that all of the refrigerators that we've had have not had the in-refrigerator door. Like, you couldn't get the water on the outside. I mean, I always got the water from the sink, but we've never had it inside the door. And then we go from having one in the door, or not just that, but also it dispenses. You can choose a number. And I learned that 2 1/4 cups fills up this with ice. So then I just hit that button and then it comes out. It's neat. Hello everyone and welcome to Wednesday. So let me tell you what we did today, what we didn't do today, and what stumped me today, because we've had a kind of an interesting day. First off, I woke up with a headache, which is really odd for me. I don't know why I woke up with a headache, but I woke up with a really, really bad headache today. And that kind of set the tone for most of my day, which was, oh crap, we have a lot of errands to run, and I have to run them with a pounding headache. So I took some Tylenol at the beginning of the day, and it never helped, and nothing ever happened, and I suffered basically through the day. But amongst the things that we had to do today, we had quite a few things to do. I like to call it the bureaucratic stuff. We went to the DMV today because it is time to finally change our
license and plate.
Our license and plates over to North Carolina.
North Carolina does it weird.
Yeah, well, I mean, different states do different things. And as a reminder to our international viewers, 50 little countries.
Masquerading is one.
Masquerading is one. So depending on where you live, all of the requirements and everything are just like super different. You don't know how it's going to change from one place to another. But in North Carolina, there's separate buildings for the plates and separate buildings for license and other things like that. So we had to go to 2 different places. And we're still in the process of some of this because leasing a car has caused somewhat complications, but we're getting to it. Anyway, when we went to get our licenses today, we walked in, we were the very last people that they saw. There was over an hour, I think, before they closed, but yeah, I think it was like 60 or 90 minutes before they closed, but they were like, all right, y'all are going to be the last ones. And I was like, okay. We went through all the process. We had all the paperwork. We were prepared. That went well. We get back there and we're at separate booths talking to the people, getting everything set up to get our licenses. And part of it, North Carolina makes you take a road sign test. And that was fine. That was totally fine. Don't mind a road sign test. Most of the road signs are pretty easy. They literally say on them what they do. If you see a sign that is a do not enter sign, you can probably guess that it means do not enter because it literally says in English, do not enter. Anyway, so we get back there and, we're taking this test. Mal's on one side, I'm on the other. So we're at different stations. We're talking to different people. And the lady says, put your head into I don't know what you call the thing. There's a little thing on the counter. It kind of reminds me of the thing that blows air into your eyes when you're at the optometrist.
Well, it's also partly a vision test.
Is it?
Yeah. Didn't you have to read letters?
Oh, yeah. There was a vision element to it. Okay. So anyway. So I'm like, all right, fine. So the problem, the thing that sucks is that this thing is on a counter at normal stature for normal stature people, and I am a large man. So I'm already like bent way over, and I got my face in this thing, and it has a little headband thing where like you have to push it in with your forehead before the screen illuminates. So I'm bent over, and I got my forehead jutted out so the thing will pop up into my eyes. And I do the little vision test. Then it's time for the road signs. And again, fairly easy. She's like, just start reading the road signs. I'm like, cool. Hill, highway divided, I don't know.
No
Do not enter.
U-turn.
No U-turn. Handicap parking. Like very easy stuff. Get to the bottom, and there are 4 signs that don't have any words on them. And this tripped me up a lot. Now the first one was a red octagon, which was stop. And the second one was a yellow circle. And I'm staring at this and I'm like, what is a yellow circle? I'm like, it's a, and she's like, so what's this one? And I'm like, so part of me was like, is there multiple yellow circle signs? And that I couldn't remember. You know, I thought for sure that doing the road sign test, it would have the actual stuff on the signs. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, I was like, it's a yellow circle. And she goes, it's an X with 2 R's on the side. What could those R's mean? And I'm looking at the thing, at the display, and I'm like, there's nothing on this sign. So then part of me starts having a bit of a thought of like, does she think that I can see what's on the sign? Because I can't. And I don't know if it's something that she thinks I can see it and it's not loading on mine or whatever. But anyway, she's like an X with 2 R's on the side. So now I'm looking at a yellow circle and I have to visualize in my head what X and 2 R's on the sides could mean. So I'm thinking about it and I'm like, okay, 2 R's, that's probably railroads. It's a railroad crossing. She says, yes. And I was like, okay. Then we had a pentagon, a yellow pentagon with nothing on it again. And I'm like, she's like, now what's this sign mean? And I'm thinking, I don't know. There's nothing on the sign. And I'm like, you know, it's like a warning sign, like a yielding warning sign. And she's like 2 people walking across the road. Like a parent and a child walking across the road. What could that mean? And I'm like, and at this point, I'm really like, holy crap, maybe she thinks I can see the illustrations and I can't. I don't know. Anyway, when
there's 2 that are that
well,
shape.
when she described it, I was like, that's school crossing. Mm-hmm. She's like, yeah, school crossing. So then the final one, and I'm very mad about this. The final one was a pennant. It was a yellow pennant. And a yellow pennant is no passing zone. That is and I looked this up because it made me very mad. The only sign in the US that uses a yellow pennant that I could figure out on Google looking through all this is no passing zone. So I'm looking at a yellow pennant. There's nothing written on it. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, and again, this is the 3rd one in a row now where there's been nothing on it and she's just had to describe it. So my first thought when I see the yellow pennant is like, and so she starts describing, she goes, lines and X's. That's all she said. She's like, there's lines, there's X's. There's lines and then there's X's in the middle. What could that mean? And I'm like, what sign is this? So then now that she said there's lines and X's in the middle, I'm staring at this yellow pennant and I'm like, it's like that, do not cross? She goes, there's lines and X's. And she just keeps saying it louder and louder. And I'm like, what on earth is this sign? So finally, she's like, all right, you pass. And I'm like, but what was the sign? So we go through the thing. And then I figure that when we're done, I met back up with Mao. And I was like, at least Mao's going to have the same experience. And then I can find out what that sign was. So come to find out, Mallory's had the images on them.
Mine had all the images, all the text. Some of them I just straight up read the sign.
Yeah.
And it was like, handicap parking.
Yeah.
No passing zone. I don't think I had no passing zone. But it was like, some of them I just read them.
And Mallory only did a few before the guy was like, you're good. She didn't even have to do them all. She only had to do a few. I got ones that didn't even have any illustration on them. And I'm very mad because whatever she was describing, that illustration, from what I can tell, does not exist.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe it's out there. But I looked it up in Google. I was like, what other illustrations are on a yellow pennant? The only thing I can find is no passing zone. And then I found that so when we walked in, they gave me and Mao came up to the counter and they gave Mao a sheet.
Oh, I still have it. You want it?
Yeah, they gave Mao a sheet of these signs. And they said, look over these, you're going to be quizzed on them. As soon as they handed Mao that sheet, they called her number. So I never got a chance to look at the stupid sheet. So she heads off, and she at least had the sheet for a moment. I never had the sheet.
I already put the stuff.
All right, let me see this thing.
So that was in it.
Let me see this. So there's no passing zone. That is a yellow pennant. That is the only yellow pennant on here, but was described to me as lines and X's.
I mean,
What
the
does
only
that
other
mean?
triangle is yield, and that's not yellow.
It was a yellow pennant.
Oh, I believe you.
It was because I had the yellow circle, which was railroad crossing, and I had a yellow pentagon, which was school crossing. Again, these had nothing on them, but
They were just
based
the
on-
shape in yellow.
based on what she described, that made sense to me. And then this. And like, what on earth? What does lines and X's mean?
I had divided highway, but I didn't know it was called that. I was like median ahead, and he's like, yeah, close enough.
Anyway. Yeah. All right. I got my license. I feel like in South Carolina, they printed them
They do.
on the spot. Like, it was a full license. They just gave it to you, like the plastic, everything.
Yep.
Here, they give you a printed one, and then they're like, it'll show up in the mail.
A paper one.
A paper one, and you'll get your real one, soon enough. But yeah, that was an interesting experience.
We're officially residents now.
Yeah, we live in North Carolina now, officially, and we'll get the plate thing handled in the near future. Anyway, if anyone has any semblance of an idea what a yellow pennant with lines and X's could possibly mean, let me know. I'm super curious because I have no idea. All right, that's it. I said one of the things we didn't do. I had been hoping to maybe get around to setting the television up, and we didn't. Because we didn't do it today, I'm thinking we'll probably wait till Saturday, because I don't want the first stream to be Pokemon with a new TV, because there are some things that are going to change a little bit. Like when you're doing syncing for things, it depends on your display, because your display has different amounts of lag than other displays. So it's going to change, and I want to have a little more time to play with it. So probably do it Saturday, which is a shame because that TV's just sitting in there and I really want to set it up, but it's okay. We'll do it Saturday. All right, that's it. Let's meet back tomorrow, shall we?